Good morning, guys. How are you? Good? TGIF. Today, I am more excited than ever, and I don't know why. Maybe just because we were going to be together today? I don't know. But today, I am going to meet you. So today, I want to see your pictures. Okay. Let me get fixed here because I think I'm a bit in a mess here. Okay, so anyway, for this Friday, we're going to end this era when I see you. No, you see me, but I don't see you. So I don't know what you guys look like. But we're going to do this today through pictures. I'm sure you guys are using your home computers or your own cell phones, and you have loads of pictures on them. So I want face pictures of you, okay? And we're going to share it on Padlet if it's possible, if it's something that doesn't bother you. If it bothers you, it's fine. You don't have to show your face. But I would like to see some of your faces today. And on the bottom of it, you're going to write a little bit about yourself. Who you are, how old are you, what you like doing, whatever you feel like sharing with us. Okay? I'm just letting you know in advance so that you can have it set and prepared for the second half of the class. Okay? I'm excited for this. And as for the rest of our class, today we're going to start by finishing where we left off last week, which is we're going to start by checking the homework and the exercise, the text exercise that we didn't get to finish from the previous class. Then we're going to correct your homework, and then we're going to study the present perfect, which is something that it can be easy, but because we tend to how can I say this? Because we tend to relate our knowledge of a new language on the knowledge we have of our mother tongue, and this is natural. It's impossible to prevent this from happening. So naturally, when you're learning a new language, you tend to relate this knowledge to the knowledge of your mother tongue, to your first language, to Portuguese. And there is no present perfect in Portuguese. At least we don't use it as much and on the same situations. And due to that, we end up finding it very difficult to use it in English. So only by practicing it, it becomes natural. But we're going to study that today. Okay? So good morning. As I said, I'm extra excited today, and we're going to have a wonderful morning together. Today, we have the team here, and I'm going to introduce you to the team as well. We are going to take a picture of the guys here on the background so that you can get to see. So you share, but I'll share too. You get to see our faces here, everybody. Okay? Okay, if not now, when? We have to do everything now because we're free and we're here and we're together. So the theme for our unit is if not now, when? Remember, we started it last class, and it talks about being the change the world needs, right? I think it was Gandhi we read last class that says that you must be the change you want to see in the world. So that's a difficult task, right? Many times we complain about things and we demand things from the world when we're not really doing our part, right? So this unit brings us to reflect and to raise conscience on the fact that we must change what we want to see changed in the world. And are we changing? Reflection time. In English, we say food for thought, right? When you present an idea and you don't really expect an answer, At that moment, you are really just raising awareness. You are really just making people think, but you don't have to answer that now. We say food for thought. So, be the change, making the world a better place to live. Are we doing what we can? Food for thought. It means think about it. I don't have an answer. I just want you to think about it. Okay? Okay, so let's get started. Please, Gabriel, can you press to the next slide? We're raising here a bilingual community. Did you know that? The guys here, they understand everything I say in English by now. So it's amazing. We are making our community bilingual. That's awesome. Once again, if you have questions, if you want to say something, if you need me to speak in Portuguese or to speak slower, I want to anticipate that today I am going to resort to the Portuguese a little bit as we get to the present perfect, because I want to make sure you guys understand the idea. But make sure you let me know, okay? Too much English, too much Portuguese, you're going too fast. Let me know, okay? Okay, so anyway, the text from the unit, the first text from the unit says, what kind of world would you like to see in 2030? You know that whenever we talk about predictions for the future, there are things that amazes us. On one side, we are racing fast, right? Technology and cell phones. For me, cell phones are a big indicator of how fast technology is moving. It amazes me that you can have your whole life in a cell phone. When you see yourself without a cell phone during the day, you can't ask for a Uber, you can't order food, you don't know your friends' phone numbers anymore, because whenever you have to trade phone numbers, we just trade contact information. So we don't even know phone numbers anymore. So the idea of being in the street and not having your cell phone is the idea of being completely impotent. There's nothing you can do, right? Have you been in that situation? I've been in that situation. One time particularly, I was in Sobral and I was in an apartment. It wasn't a hotel and I didn't have Wi-Fi. So I had computer, and I had a computer, and I had a cell phone. But even the Wi-Fi I used for the computer was the Wi-Fi I shared from the cell phone. And I had no charger, and my battery died. So I couldn't call the taxi company. They didn't have Uber there. I don't know if they have it by now. But I couldn't call the cab company. I couldn't order food. I couldn't watch anything on the computer. There was nothing I could do simply because I didn't have my cell phone. And it amazed me how much information we have on our cell phones and how many actions we can get done through the cell phone. Not having the cell phone causes desperation sometimes. That's both a happy thought and a sad thought. In English, please, if you can. And it doesn't have to be a text. It's just some pieces of information about you, okay? And as we get to the end of this first class, I'm going to show you the QR code for the Padlet page. You guys are going to insert your information, okay? Great. It doesn't have to be a text. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, okay? I'm eager to know. So anyway, anything else you can ask, okay? I'm going to get back to what we were discussing. So when we talk about predictions for the future, it seems that now by the year 2020, we have advanced a lot. On the other hand, when you watch movies like Back to the Future, we see that there were some expectations that by now we would be like space people, right? The clothes we would be wearing would be so different. The cars we would be driving would be so different. So there are some predictions that didn't come true. We didn't move that fast, right? And that's interesting to analyze and to consider. So when we stop and think about 2030, what do we think will be changed in these 10 years? What do you think will be different? And what do you think will be the same? So we have to consider 2030. Again, we are anticipating the topic, right? And I am going to anticipate here. Because we are dealing with a unit that's called Be the Change, making the world a better place to live, I am going to predict that the text is going to talk about some bad predictions. And the text is going to talk about the fact that we need to change our behavior in order to have a better future. Don't you agree? This is a prediction I'm making, okay? So let's get down to the text. I'm going to read it quickly because I think you guys have read it, right? I believe you read it. So I'm going to read it quickly, okay? The text goes, members of the again, breathe in, breathe out. I'm going too fast, right? I told you I was excited. Okay, let's go. Members of the United Nations asked themselves this question in 2015. They came with a set of 17 goals to help us achieve a better world. The Sustainable Development Goals focus on some of humanity's most difficult problems in different aspects. Those are 17 goals, each aiming at a different aspect that can be changed in the world, aiming at a better and sustainable life for us all, so that people can enjoy a peaceful and prosperous life by 2030. Although they are different, it is believed that the goals are integrated. Therefore, if one goal improves, another will also get better. If quality education, goal number 4, is spread, people can be aware about climate change, for example. The goals are integrated in many other ways. Guys, one information. Do you know that the hashtag symbol in English, it means number? When you read it, it's, well, not when it's talking about Instagram or stuff like that. But if you're reading a text and it has hashtag, you should read number this, number that. So go number 4, okay? Okay, Gabriel, next. So there we have the global goals, which are too small for me to read, but that we talked about on the previous class. Remember? The goals, you guys know a lot because we use them as base for our FACT themes, right? So I'm going to get closer so that I can read what it says on the bottom, okay? If we simply take a look at the goals, it is easy to see that sustainability goes much beyond recycling or protecting nature. Sustainability also involves fighting hunger, poverty, and inequalities, offering quality education, providing people with decent work conditions, and stimulating innovation, among other things. The world is in a long way from solving all its problems. It is estimated that about 800 million people suffer without food and about 2.4 million live in inadequate sanitation areas. It is surely complex to solve all the problems, but we cannot give up. In 2016, the UN reviewed the SDGs, creating a planet's annual report card named Progress Towards the Sustainable Development Goals. This report measures the progress towards the 17 goals. More than 190 world leaders are committed to these goals. And you, are you committed to them too? Okay, you guys, so this is the text we were supposed to read. One more piece of information I'd like to share with you is that, you know when you take your tests and your evaluation and the school gives you this information in a document, that's called a report card, okay? That's why it says here that they created a Planet's annual report card. So a report card is when you have, is the place where you have your grades listed. So that's a report card, okay? It wasn't a difficult text to read, was it? And this is the kind of text that if we look at the images and if we read the title, we can pretty much guess the entire text, couldn't we? It is a text that it's easy to anticipate because it talks about topics that are very common in our everyday lives, right? Okay. Gabriel, next. So anyway, I'm going to discuss these questions with its answers, okay, guys? I'm not going to give you here a lot of time to answer them. I just want to get through this part. If you have any additional question, you make sure you type, okay? According to the text, what are the Sustainable Development Goals? Why have the United Nations established them? So, they are a set of goals for the world to achieve a better quality of life in the future. They are a set of goals to guarantee sustainability to our planet, right? And why did the UN establish them? Because we need to solve the problems in order to have a livable place. And also, it's important to mention that all the goals are integrated. Remember, when we work on goal 17, we are actually helping all the other goals to be achieved. And that's question number 3, you see? According to the text, the goals are integrated. What does it mean? It means that by working to achieve one, you are also helping the others be achieved. So remember, the text even mentions education as an example. If we raise a community that is highly educated, it will be easier for them to understand what the world needs in order to avoid global warming. Okay, so they are integrated. Number 4 is very personal. Choose 2 of the 17 global goals and make a brief research about them. Then write down a short paragraph explaining how these goals are related to each other. So this I'm going to trust you guys did it and know how to go about it. Okay? Gabriel, next. Thank you. The answers are there. We have gone through them. Can you move on, please? Gabriel, to the next. Mais um. Thank you. And this was your homework. Remember, I asked you to watch the video to practice your listening skills. I am not going to show the video here because many times due to copyright and YouTube regulations, when we start showing the video, we either have it stopped or the whole class just drops out. We get stricken, right? I'm sure you guys have seen it happen. So we're not going to show the video, but if you guys have seen it, it talks about an initiative to bring hunger in the world to a 0 level, right? It's an effort to avoid hunger in the world, right? So, the following text is part of the video you're going to watch, part of the video you've watched. Read it and answer the question. This is a story about 0. What if you didn't have enough to eat? What if your life was defined by what you didn't have? More than 800 million people, and this is a frightening number, are hungry and undernourished. They live in fear of 0. It's time for us to rethink 0. This is the 0 Hunger Challenge, a comprehension vision of a world where hunger is ended everywhere. a mission to zero out hunger. And it's a very nice video to watch, right? When it comes to making the world a better place, there are many interesting initiatives that we can observe. And as you can see, also in the book and in the SDGs and so on, innovation is a big part on finding sustainability to the world, right? We have to resort to innovative ideas in order to make sure we get to a world that is sustainable. Because many of our practices, of our everyday habits and routines, they rely on technology, on plastic, they rely on fuel, they rely on pollution that will be created. And in order to have a better world, we either change our habits or we change our way of life, which involves changing our habits, right? So why do we use plastic when we could use paper bags or recyclable bags? But how many times do we take those bags to the market? And so on. So anyway, being innovative is a big part of that. Creating things that haven't been thought of yet is an important part of having a better world, right? That's why innovation is so important. But anyway, people say I talk too much. Is that true? Anyway, let's get down to the questions. Question A says, how many people suffer from hunger and undernourishment in the world? Duh, it's right there in the text. Why does the text say that people live in fear of zero? You can answer in Portuguese. You can, but you won't, right? Because you're able to do it in English. And based on the text and in groups, write down a few words and expressions you think will be mentioned in the video. So, as you've done that, you would watch the video and we will get to the next slide. Please, Gabriel. Anyway, so you see you have the answers there. Most of the questions are personal. What I want you guys to tell me now through the chat is if you were able to understand the video. How much of the video were you able to understand? Did you watch it with subtitles or with no subtitles? I believe there is a question for me because I see some writing being done. So I'm here to answer. But let me know. Did you understand the text? Did you understand the video? Was it easy to understand? Undernourished. Okay, very nice. Undernourished means a person that gets food but not enough to lead a healthy life. Okay? In Portuguese we say subnutrido. And if you translate it, it's basically the same thing. Under, sub, and nourished, nutrido. Okay? So the text talks about undernourished people. They get food, they do eat, but not enough for their bodies to be healthy. Ok? Eles têm que me responder se entenderam o vídeo. Eles estão dizendo aí se entenderam o vídeo. Sim, sim, sim. Yes, okay. Perfect. Very nice. You guys rock. Excellent. So anyway, I hope you guys have watched the video, got an understanding of it. And one thing that is important, and this is why I think it's important that you guys read and try to express yourselves in English and observe videos in English, is because even if your goal is the college entrance examinations, even if your goal, I only study English because I have to take NA, but I don't want to learn English. It doesn't matter to me. It's not important for me. If you take a look on these previous NA English exercises, English questions, you'll see that they are focusing more and more on your ability to understand whole texts in English. So in the past, when I was a student and we were taking college entrance examinations, we were taking the NA of the time, you could pretty much base your answers on pieces of information. I couldn't read the entire text, but I could just see a sentence, and if I found the verb from the question on the text, sure thing the answer would be on that line. Do you know what I'm saying? So we used some strategies and techniques that didn't demand an understanding of the text, and still we could answer the questions and get the right answers. But now they are asking questions that demand that you understand the general idea. And if you look at NA from 2019, you'll see that many times the question would say, what's the general idea of the text? And three options would have sentences that were in the text. They were true, they were in the text, but they were not the general idea. So they are trying to check if you can understand the entire thing by using this kind of exercise, these kinds of questions. So it's important to practice the reading and the understanding. And second, there is a lot in getting the question right that will make it easier for you if you understand the topic. Like we did here. When you consider the SDGs, we have so much previous knowledge on the topic that we can anticipate the text itself. So there is a lot on NA that is based on understanding the world, the topics that are discussed and important for our everyday lives. So as we are discussing these topics, we are also raising awareness on themes that maybe won't be contemplated in English, but will contemplated on your essay, on the composition you have to write. Maybe they will be contemplated on other questions of other subjects. So that's why it's important to bring topics that are relevant to our everyday life. Okay? Moving on, Gabriel, next. Okay? It's just the suspense. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. We're getting there. You see, it's because I spent so much time in the same slide that now it's... here we go. Okay, you guys. So now we are here to talk about the present perfect. Is it scary? I'm kidding. It isn't scary. It's actually simple. If we consider that we are studying a different language, and not all the rules from Portuguese will apply to English. The same way not all the rules from English apply to Portuguese. Easier said than done. Even though it's easy to understand that they are not the same language and they don't have to be generated or to be worked out through the exact same rules, when we are speaking, we end up resorting to our mother tongue, the one we are most familiar with. And that's why the present perfect becomes difficult. But if you understand the idea behind it, it is not difficult anymore. And maybe some of you will find this so easy, and I don't know why she's taking so much time on that. But you will let me know, okay? If you need more attention or less attention on it, okay? Anyway, what's the present perfect? Well, the present perfect is very common in the English language. But since it doesn't exist in Portuguese, since we don't have in Portuguese the exact same tense, many times we end up using the simple past instead of using the present perfect. Even though the name is present perfect, it is used to refer to things that happened in the past, in a time that is not determined, and with an effect in the present. Differently from the simple past, the present perfect doesn't show time expressions that refer to the past that has been concluded. Words like yesterday, last year, 2 days ago, they are used for simple past, but not for present perfect, okay? Everything will be clearer in the next graph. Gabriel, next. Here we go, the present perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about it. Before we just read the graph, let's talk about the present perfect, okay? Pay attention. When we are talking about the past, we have two scenarios. One scenario is we are talking about something that happened in the past, but the information only makes sense if we relate it to when it happened. One example, I think I saw you on the street yesterday. I think you were the one walking down the street where I live yesterday. And I want to confirm this with you. So I say, did you come by my street yesterday? Or, were you walking down my street yesterday by 3 o'clock? Or, did you come to my house yesterday at 3? This question, this information only makes sense if we are referring to that time in the past. I don't want to know if you were here 2 days ago, a year ago, if you know my street. No, I want to know if you were here yesterday. So the action is only important if I am relating it to that moment in time. This is a typical simple past scenario. When I say, what did you do last weekend? I want to know what happened last weekend. So it's an action that took place in a precise moment in the past. Simple past, okay? Now, this is a scenario for present perfect. I want to invite you to go to the movies with me. And I want to watch. What movies are on now? Help me. No movies. Sorry. I won't invite you to go to the movies because there are no movies. Forget about it. Cinema is closed. I'll try some. I want to invite you to have dinner in my house. It won't be a lot of people, I promise. Just 4 people. Can we get together to have dinner? And I'm going to order food from my food or from whatever other app. I want to know if you know the food from a restaurant I like. So I want to order food from whatever restaurant. I won't let's not name names, okay? But there is a restaurant I love. And I want to know if in the past, any moment in the past, you experienced the food from this restaurant. In this scenario, it is not important if you went there a year ago, 2 days ago, if you went there, I don't know, many times. It doesn't matter. All I want to know is if in the past you lived this experience. In this case, I'm going to use present perfect. I'm going to ask you, have you ever eaten the food from da, 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 da? Why have you eaten and not did you eat? Because the moment when you ate is not important. The only thing I want to know is if the experience happened any time in the past. And why is it important? For a reflection it's going to have in the present. For my decision in the present of whether I can order the food from this place or not. Can you see the difference? In one, the relevance of the question is based on the moment it happened. On the second scenario, the moment when it happened is not important. The only importance is the action itself. Is it clear? Let me try another example. There is going to be, we are deciding where to take a cooking course. We have decided that we're going to learn how to cook because we are going to be independent soon, and we are going to go to ITA or to USP or to whatever college you guys want to go, and I must cook because I'm going to be independent soon. And I have decided to take a cooking course. So I know you have already had this experience. You have already taken a cooking course. So, and you like cooking and you read magazines on cooking. So I ask you, have you ever heard about Senac's cooking course? Have you heard if it is good? Do you see here? It doesn't matter when you read or heard or talked about it. What I want to know is this something that you have read, that you have experienced? So it is an action in the past, but the moment when it happened is not important. That's when you use present perfect. Is it clear? Can you understand that? In this scenario, if you think in Portuguese, we would use simple past. Você já ouviu falar do curso tal? Você já comeu no restaurante tal? We use simple past. In Portuguese, it would be past as usual. And this is why it's difficult to use the present perfect, because we consider the way we do it in Portuguese. But in English, it's only simple past if there is a close relation between the moment it happened and the action that happened. If the moment is not important, present perfect. Okay? Let's see this not in a question, but in an affirmative statement. You are telling me about this fantastic band that you didn't know existed, and you have just found out about this band, and you are watching all of its videos on YouTube because it's fantastic. And you come to me and you tell me you have to see the videos from American authors. You have to see the videos from, oh, there is a band I want to remember, but I will remember now. Anyway, you have to see the videos from this fantastic band. And I say, oh, I have already heard them. I have already bought an album from them. I have already downloaded all their songs from whatever. So here, it's not important to our conversation when I heard the songs, when I downloaded the music. It's just important that I have had the experience before. So I use present perfect, okay? In this case, in an affirmative statement. So this is the general idea of the present perfect. There is just one more scenario when you use present perfect, and the idea is a little different. But this one is easier to relate to Portuguese, because we could do that in Portuguese. It's when I have a situation that started in the past and continues in the present. So when I say, I have studied English since I was 8. I started studying in the past when I was 8, but I am studying now and I will continue to study. I have studied because it is an action that started in the past but continues in the present. So this is the other scenario when you use the present perfect. Okay? Now, if I was to ask you about the actions you carried out yesterday, would you use simple past or present perfect? I want to know about yesterday. The actions that were carried out yesterday, would you use simple past or present perfect? Write SP for simple past or PP for present perfect. Alguma resposta aí? Algum SP ou algum PP? Não? Então vou aguardar que vocês estão chegando lá. Se eu quero saber sobre as suas atividades de ontem, o que você fez ontem, eu uso SP, Simple Past, or PP, Present Perfect. Simple past. Fantastic, because the action is related to the moment. Now, in a different scenario, if I am thinking about traveling to Croatia, but I need information from Croatia, and I am curious to know if this is an experience that is familiar to you, would I use simple past or present perfect? I need information about Croatia. It's important to know if you know Croatia to me. So, if I am going to ask you about this experience, do I use simple past or present perfect? This is building up the suspense. Drum roll. Yes. Perfect. Present perfect. You guys, excellent. That's awesome. So let's do this. I'm going to give you now the time to do the activity. Remember, only show your picture if you and your family are okay with it, okay? If you're not, that's fine. Show me a drawing, something you like, whatever. I just want to get to know you guys a little. So, Gabriel, a outra página? I'm going, não. A outra atividade. A outra atividade, o Padlet. Para abrir o Padlet. I'm going to share with you the QR code. You guys know the drill by now. You're going to get on this QR code. It's going to open a page. There, you're going to add a picture and write a little bit about yourself, okay? This is your break exercise. I am going to take a break. I'm going to get myself some coffee, and you guys are going to be working. But we'll be back soon, okay? So please, feel free to do it. Only if it's okay with you. But I'd love to get to know you guys. 15-minute break. You do your activity, and I'll just chill. See you soon. Bye-bye.